Well, thank you, Peter. Thank you for the introductions. Yeah, hello everybody. So my name is Mark, as Peter just said, from Advanced Technology. We are a local computer company with 10 staff who basically look after businesses and all their IT needs. And I was asked to do a little presentation on cybersecurity. So today's presentation will be very low tech. There is a bit of tech in there, but it is not aimed at the IT geeks. It is aimed at the normal person who does not speak geek. And I hope you take something away from it. Now, before we start, have a little discussion at your table. What I want you to quickly discuss, a little warm-up exercise. How concerned are you about cybersecurity, 1 to 10? And what's your biggest concern? Just share it with your neighbor, just have a quick chat about it. What numbers did you give him? A few people. From 1 to 10, what numbers? Who thinks? 7, 7, 7. Biggest concerns, a few volunteers, just in 1 or 2 words, what will be the biggest concern?
Attachments. Credit card hacking.
Credit card hacking?
Attachments.
Attachments, scary attachments?
Emails with changing passwords.
Email changing stuff in it?
Your phone, having all your apps and Apple Pay and all of your card details on your phone.
On the phone itself, yes.
AI.
Over here. We have you.
AI.
AI, that's a good one. This will bring hacking to a complete new game. Way through. Bank accounts. Just worried about losing money by bank accounts. Yeah, all very valid concerns. If you ask me how scary is it, scarier than you think. That's pretty much the one line answer. It's a 10. Yeah, it is. If there is a reason why this has become the #1 risk to businesses. So there's an organization in America who every year reevaluates what's the biggest risk to business. Is it staff retention? Is it money? Is it cash flow? Is it product updates? They're going through all the categories. And for 2 times now in a row, cyber security and the risk of being hacked has been the #1 risk to business. #1, not 2, not 3, not 10, #1 risk to business. So that's how crazy it has become, and it will become crazier. So that's what we're seeing at the moment is actually the hacker world, if you want to say so, waking up to the fact that that is a very easy way of making money. So they have not started this, but it's nowhere yet at its potential. Another good news is you can protect yourself, but you have to become proactive about it. You cannot, well, you can wait till it happens, but it's still better a bit proactive. All right. For people who have never met me before, who's Mark Pelt? So I come from Germany, as most probably my accent gave away. I'm married to Swantje, or Sharon as we call her in Australia, as it is easier for the Australians to say. We moved to Australia in 2000 with 4 kids. We started a computer business here in 2003. And yeah, I haven't lost my accent in the last 23 years. So my apology for that. This is what they look like. So yeah, I got 1 moved out, 1 works in my company, and 2 are very delightful teenagers at the moment. So that's what my life journey talks about. All right, would you like to know how to hack a billionaire? So billionaire particular chosen because it's not that the guy doesn't spend any money on IT security. All right. Let me have a look. I can pull this up for you.
So you agreed to get hacked?
You know, I am really safe on the internet. I don't open links that I shouldn't. I have a very, very low profile. I do not think I am a good target here. This is Jeffrey Katzenberg, co-founder and former CEO of DreamWorks and billionaire investor.
What's happening today?
I'm hacking Jeffrey Katzenberg. It's gonna be fun.
This is Rachel Toback, and she can hack just about anything. As an ethical hacker, she's hacked news reporters, Fortune 500 companies, and everything in between.
Jeffrey might think he's pretty safe. Most people do. But the truth is that nobody is unhackable. And it can be surprisingly easy to get in. Want to see how it's done? I'm in charge of the human hacking, and Evan is behind the technical elements of the exploit and hack. We're going to build our free text using information from data breaches and data brokerage sites. The first step for an attacker is to figure out who you are going to pretend to be and how you're going to contact them. This hack, I think it makes sense to be Jeffrey's right-hand man, Anthony Saleh. Anthony recently had a Wall Street Journal article about him and Jeffrey's working relationship, and we can find more details about how to pretend to be in this hack from Jeffrey's work website.
So this specific attack works because Jeffrey's computer is out of date. A security researcher has found a vulnerability in Jeffrey's software, and now that's publicly known. The vendor has since fixed this problem, but since Jeffrey hasn't updated, the patches aren't protecting him yet.
Now it's time to send Jeffrey our message with the malicious link. So what we're gonna do is place a call to Jeffrey, and we're gonna spoof the phone number, make the caller ID look like it's calling from Anthony. We're also gonna use voice changing software and add in background noise. So it sounds like I'm in a really loud place and I can't really hear him because I can't do Anthony's voice. So I can only say a little bit.
So as I think we were talking about, I really think I'm sorry. Hey Anthony, what's up? What? Check email? Oh, okay.
I think we got it.
He clicked. Okay, we got it. Okay, so now our attack prompts Jeffrey to open a shared cloud folder, which we told him to expect in the phishing email. Once he clicks open, the rest of the attack will continue in the background, and we'll be able to steal data from any site he's currently logged.
Second here, guys. Sorry.
That's how we hacked a billionaire.
It was at this point that we thought it might be nice to tell Jeffrey exactly what had happened.
Oh boy, Rachel,
Jeffrey.
Evan, you people are bad people.
Guess I was just a bit too confident.
It's okay if I come in.
Come
I'm
on,
coming in.
come on,
I already hacked you. It's
Come
worse than I
on.
realized.
No, it can't be any worse than I
It
think.
is.
Come on.
Let me show you.
Can't wait to hear the good news here.
You probably want to know what all happened, what all went down.
Yeah, I'd say.
You remember that email from Anthony?
Yeah.
That was me.
How is it you? It's from Anthony.
I had a lookalike email address, so it looked like I was emailing from Anthony, but I was actually emailing as myself.
So how do you get a...
You can just purchase it. It's .co instead of .com. And then the phone number, I was spoofing that phone call. So
I know that it was Anthony's voice.
I used a voice changer.
That's bananas.
Isn't that nuts? And so you probably want to see what I got from you.
I probably don't, but I think you're going to show it to me anyway, so...
Yeah, the first thing that we were able to steal,
See, my driver's license.
probably also recognize that I was able to steal your passport,
Passport.
COVID card, pictures of your grandkids. These pictures were in your cloud.
So any website that you're currently logged into, we could access. Because you were logged into your email on your machine, we were able to steal all your emails.
Because you clicked the malicious link and your computer was out of date. So you know how that little thing will come in on the side and it'll say, update your computer now? And you're like, no, thank you, I would rather do anything else. And enough of those weeks built up and we had a known vulnerability with your computer out of date that we were able to leverage against you.
You are really malicious.
So we were also able to steal your contacts, which is scary because you're a pretty connected individual. When you are hacked, there's a huge blast radius among you and all the people that you have connections with. You remember when you got that phone call from Anthony,
Yeah.
right? Well, unfortunately, when you click that link, we were able to gain access to your mic. And we didn't even indicate that that mic was on. And we were able to listen in on your call. So you want me to roll the footage back for you here?
No, I take your word for it.
I'm gonna play it anyway.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
Remember that call?
Yeah.
You don't even really use the internet that much.
I have a super low profile,
Right.
but it's amazing just how vulnerable we all are.
I know. It's scary stuff. Thanks for being a good sport.
Thank you for nothing. All right, you guys, get out of here.
Thanks, Jeffrey.
Have a shitty trip home. Goodbye. Thanks for nothing.
All right. So that's how you hack a billionaire. Yeah, so the technology, so there was a mix of technology as well as social engineering being used. Social engineering is sort of the word for you pretending to be someone else and basically gain access this way. What technologies were being used? You remember? There were three main technologies being used. The one was a voice changer, where they changed the voice into a person of trust. How expensive is a voice changer?
Free.
It's free, correct. You can have it on the internet. I can give you a link if you're interested. You can start pretending to be another person, freeware. You get professional versions, which are a little bit better, but you get already freeware versions. Next thing they did was obviously the email with a malicious link. Now, he usually wouldn't click on it, but because he got a phone call from his trusted advisor, there was no reason not to click. And then the last thing was they changed the caller ID. Don't know if you're aware of this, but whenever you receive a phone call, the caller ID which is on your display is actually relatively easy to change. I can show you in a minute how to do this. It's how crazy it is. So when you get a phone call, for example, where it says, 131998, which is usually the Commonwealth Bank, this could be anyone. This does not need to be the Commonwealth Bank. It's just that people, when they don't understand technology, they don't think about these things. So like, oh, it's a 13 number, of course it's a Commonwealth Bank. No, it isn't. Well, we hope it is, but potentially it isn't. There's also other ways, surprisingly, how many people do not know yet that you can take over pretty much any mobile phone number like that. It is really that easy. So if you're still using a bank who's sending you text messages to confirm a transaction, I would recommend you to change banks, really do. Because your mobile phone number, once it's known, without your consent, without you doing anything, can literally be taken over at any point in time. Like that. Now you can rectify that over time, but by the time you notice and you start taking action, the hack has already happened. Alright, so how big is the problem? Pretty big and getting bigger every year. There's real money being made with cybercrime, and that number goes pretty much up every year. Now, the Australian government has the Cybercrime Center, where they basically collect all these data, trying to make sense of it, giving recommendations. And that's what the Australian Cybercrime Center, I'll read it out for you, this must be a bit far away. So Cybercrime report is every 7 minutes, 25,000 calls to the cybersecurity hotline they get. They estimate about 150 to 200,000 routers being compromised. Router is this little modem you have in your home which connects you to the internet. I have lost count of how many businesses I've seen who run multi-million-dollar business and it runs on a $150 router, which is not good, to say the least, because they are very easy to hack. The main frauds being committed is online shopping and online banking is still the main target to extract money like this, plenty of money being made with this. This is actually quite interesting. The average cost per cybercrime report is $39,000 for small business, $88,000 for medium business, and $62,000 for large businesses. What's interesting about the number is that for large businesses, the damage actually goes down because usually they have a bit of better IT and are less likely to pay a ransom. That's why hackers in general, a small to medium-sized business is actually the main target of hackers, because they are more likely to pay ransom, more likely can be extorted to give the money. So you have the small business community have literally become the main target for hackers worldwide. And they reported 76,000 cyber crimes, so 76,000 reported crimes to the Australian Crime Centre or Cybercrime Centre, reported. Experts argue over how high the real number is, because that means someone actually picked up the phone and reported it. But it's easily to imagine the number is about 10 times higher, because most people would not report it. How does the future look like? Yeah, more scary than at the moment. So this will just keep going up and become more and more a tool to basically make money. Reason being, this is maybe a little bit hard to see, but basically if you have traditional crime, most of the time there was a hands-on component. With cybercrime you can do similar attacks, but you can do it from the comfort of wherever you're living, from your unit, from the flat. So it's very easy, it's very convenient, it makes lots of money. It actually makes more money than real crime these days. And it's nearly risk-free, because the chance of you persecuting someone in Russia, China, or India, or wherever they are, is next to nil. So that's the reason why this has become so popular. Now, on top of that, in case you didn't know this, there is a data breach scheme in place. If your business makes more than $3 million, you have to notify your customer if there's a data breach. You also have to notify the Commission on New South Wales about the breach, and in other states there's a similar thing. And if you don't do it, they can penalize you up to $2.1 million, and you can also potentially be legally charged. So this is important to know. I highly encourage you not to mess around with this, because if one of your staff rats you out and there was a cyber breach and you did the legal requirement, there's really consequences from this. So keep this in mind if you ever have a data breach. And the reason why they're doing this is obviously too many organizations try to sweep it under the carpet and nothing happens, and that's of course not good for the customers, because if they have a data breach with customer data, the customer deserves to know that his data has been basically being exposed. That's the reason why you also see more and more of these reports in the newspaper these days, because companies are legally required to do so. So they don't like doing it, but they have to do it. All right, so question is, why don't people do not take this seriously? Because as we just realized, this is obviously a pretty high threat. And I think a lot of it has to do with perception. For people who've been around for a while, remember the film War Games? Old American movie where someone used the telephone to hack into the Pentagon and started near the Third World War. It was fascinating at the time when the film came out, because no one had even thought of that, oh, we've got computers now that can be hacked, oh, someone could do something bad with it. It was a new concept then. But somehow these pictures have stuck in mind. So this is sort of the picture which a lot of people have from the modern hacker. There's a guy, someone with a laptop or a hoodie, and he tries frantically to get someone in. This couldn't be further from the truth. The modern hacker organization looks like this. They have floors of people who they literally employ. They are on payroll, like call centers and other things. They basically do nothing else than trying to hack into businesses and extort money. They use technology, surprisingly, because usually hackers are pretty well informed about technology. So the last thing they're doing is using an old laptop. Now they're using data centers and really good equipment, actually, to actually try to hack it. And instead of someone sitting there with a laptop hacking away, there's a server somewhere in a rack who does 1 million password guesses in a second on your account. There is no one hacking with anymore. They're programming software. The software does the hacking for you. That's why when someone said over there, artificial intelligence, yeah, now we're getting also the intelligence components into the whole thing. So it's just another thing. Another thing which people haven't heard yet, or maybe have heard about, there is a dark web out there. So the dark web is the part of the internet which Google doesn't see. If you ever want to know what's on there, talk to me, I can give you a little tour. Scary is all I can say. There are thousands of online services for hackers. So you can go on websites, you pay $10 and they say, show me all the security cameras in the Coffs Harbour area which are already compromised. And then they give you a list of all the security cameras who are compromised. Would you like to buy access to them? Please put in your credit card. And for $50 you can watch the people in Coffs Harbour. That's how crazy it is. So that's the dark web. Most people don't see it. You can buy username and password for a couple of dollars. And surprisingly, plenty of free stuff available there. Would you like a trial account? Hey, we give you the first 1,000 passwords for free. It's crazy. It's a whole industry which is behind it. This is not, I said, that's why I'm saying, I think the reason why people don't understand how dangerous this is, there is no hacker with a hoodie anymore. This is organized crime at a pretty high level. Reason being is the reward. It is massive amount of money which these people make with this. And when you haven't got the morals, which prevent you from doing something like this, basically, this is the easiest way to make money. Another reason why I think people still struggle with this, they do not understand passwords and access control. And the easiest thing to explain this is like when you have a car key, and this gives someone access to your car. So when you give it to someone, now you have given that person access to your car. Now, once he's done with the car, you take this key. Now you have revoked access from the car, and it's literally, the deal is done. Here's the problem with passwords. When you hand out a password, you didn't give him the key, you made a copy of the key. Yeah. And not only did you make a copy of the key, unless you change your password, you can't even take that key back anymore, because he knows it. So if you want to put this into real life, if you are one of these offices where the password is somewhere on a sticky note on the monitor, which I still see everywhere. So if you wanted to transfer this into the real world, because the data in your office is pretty much as important as the office yourself. So if you make a comparison into the real world, what you're literally doing, every time someone comes through your door, you have someone saying, hang on, I make you a copy on our office key, here's the key, take it with you, you never need to give it back. That's literally what you're doing. Everyone coming through the door, if you have this post-it note, you're giving a key to your office. Hey, have a key, hey, have a key, hey, have a key, hey, have a key. If someone would do this in the physical world, you would say, shoot that guy, this is nuts. Who is it? But you have a sticky note on your computer, like, hey, who cares, it's just my data. Shit. All right, strong passwords. Have a look at these if you can read them. Which one do you think is a strong password of this? Anyone wants to give it a guess?
The bold one, right?
The bold one? This one? Maybe?
Yeah.
Well, of course, it's a trick question. None of them. So all of these passwords can be hacked within 2 seconds. All of them. 2 seconds. Some of the password like this, even though it is a longer password, it is a known password in the internet. There's whole databases with known passwords. That's why when you use a password manager, I'll get back to this in a moment, it checks actually if your password has already been compromised. For the more geeky people, the time it takes to crack passwords is scary. And every year the technology gets better and it can become faster. So you want to know what a safe password looks like? That's sort of what a safe password looks like. And that's most probably slowly but surely the minimum. And every year it gets a little bit expanded in the whole thing. 5 things you can do. Use a password manager. Security advice is actually changing over time. I'm sure everybody remembered the old advice, change your password every 90 days. No, it's not the up-to-date advice anymore. The up-to-date advice is use a password manager and don't change your password. Every password you use on any online facility should be a unique password. It looked like roughly the one which you had before. You don't even know your passwords anymore. You know your master password to access your password safe, and that stores all your password, which is automatically fills into whatever site you are. The reason why you need unique passwords everywhere is because if one shitty website gets hacked, they try immediately on the 100,000 most common websites of the world if that username and password maybe works over there as well, because they obviously know that people like reusing the same passwords. So if you're still using the same password on multiple websites and accounts, your risk of getting hacked just went up astronomical. Now there's some risk with using a password manager as well, so use a good company. We recommend 1Password. There's a few others out there. But the risk of that is way lower, because it's all about risk management, is way lower than you using banana123. This is the 1Password I can remember on 50 web pages. It's just a way higher risk. Even if your password is safe and nice and long, if it gets hacked on some, the $10 shoes from Tiffany website, and God bless Tiffany, but I don't think she spent a lot of money on security. If she gets hacked, then your pretty good password just got exposed to the world. And then a hacker can buy it for cents, literally. Next thing, run all the updates. Don't say no, just get used to it. It's a fact of life. If you're one of these guys who like, no, don't bother me with stupid updates, yep, that's fine. You will end up like the billionaire, because every time you don't update, your risk of getting hacked is higher. These days, all you need to do is to browse a web page. You do not need to click, you do not need to download. If you have not up-to-date software and you browse the website alone, the browsing alone of that can actually be a security risk already. Run updates, don't say no. Last thing, which is a good idea, train yourself or your staff. This is a bit oriented at business to be cybersecurity aware. There are certain programs you can run to give you cybersecurity awareness training. There is this common flaw amongst business owners that they always think my business is as safe as I am. It's just not true. like your house, you're safe as your house is as safe as the weakest door which you have. It's not as safe as your front door, the weakest window, the weakest door, that's how safe your house is. In your business, the dumbest person in your business, sorry for saying this, that's how safe your business is, right there. Because if he clicks or downloads or executes or gives something away, that's your level of security. So you have to bring the security level of your whole company up so that whoever is the least educated in your company, that's your level of security you have, nothing else. And we have done tests with this on companies, 30 staff, and there were people in the packaging era, they clicked on everything, downloaded everything, ran everything, and then it wasn't doing anything, they ran the thing the second time. Just to make sure that didn't miss anything of these amazing attachments which I've got. And you go like, where have these people been? Next thing, you need to run backups. They have to be automatic, they have to be daily, sometimes even hourly. But if you even with all protection into place, no one can guarantee you that not someone finds a loophole. And that's where backup is. Now when it comes to backup, they have to be cyber safe, which means usually when a hacker compromises your computer, they also try to encrypt your backups because they want to make sure you're paying. There is a way around this by cyber safe backups, which basically cannot be altered anymore once they've been done and been written. And this way you can make sure that they cannot destroy your legitimate backups. And then this is a bit, which you have, particularly when you have many computers in your business, you need to do vulnerability scanning, where you look for the loopholes. It's, you know, in the real world, like you have a police officer now and again checking your house and saying, yeah, all windows are safe or not. That's literally what there's an IT guy. You have an expert who now and again looks at everything and saying, are there any loopholes? And if there are, they get scanned. Now, I had a bonus session, but we're most probably running out of time. If you want to now talk to me afterwards, I can teach you in about 10-20 minutes how to hack your competition's bank account. It's surprisingly easy. You need.
We're all lining up.
You know, so if you want to learn this, talk to me. It is surprisingly easy, and while you learn how to do it, it will also make you a bit more safe and secure. You need zero technical skill, a little bit. If you can use Word and the scanner, and if you have no scruple lying, you'd be very successful with this. It's surprising how easy it is. Kevin Mitnick, world famous hacker, I won actually a 2-day workshop with him in Sydney a while back. And what the guy taught me was just mind-blowing. You go out of the room and like, nothing is safe. It was amazing. It really does you. It gives you a few sleepless nights to be there. There were characters in the seminar. This was quite something. Like there was the chief technical officer from Australia Post from a couple of banks. Then there were a few guys, when I talked to them and asked them what their name is, they said it's classified. I said, oh, classified, I haven't heard that Australian name before. So it was a very interesting thing. Of course, we are a business who deals with stuff like this. If you want to know more stuff about us, check us out on our website or talk to me. And that's it.
Yep, thanks, Mark. I didn't know about the dark web until a few years ago. I started getting emails from it that we have your email address, which was the original one I had, and we bought it, and we're going to send, unless you send X amount in cryptocurrency, etc., we're going to post to all these contacts on your site, all these porn sites you visited. Well, I don't even know where to go to get them, but so I go, do what you like. If people want to dump me because they thought I'm doing that, then that's fine. But eventually I said to Mark, when we moved up here, we just need to get rid of that email address, not using it anyway, so they organised all that. But they introduced, we're only, you know, we're not big, we're just a small trust foundation, but they introduced a password manager, I don't know what you call it, password manager.
Yep.
So, and 3 weeks ago, I get a text on Saturday from Apple saying your Apple account, someone's trying to access it, their name is sitting in China. Do you allow that or not? And I'm always reluctant to touch anything, but I said no. And then immediately I went organised by a different way of changing the password to the one that's in the password manager. I cannot tell you what it is. Look at it, you mind put you to sleep just looking at it. But it's one of those ones you just recommended.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's a pain in the neck. But in your business, as you've seen from this, it's not all that hard to do this stuff. But I think I get stuff on my screen during the day where your security stuff comes up, so it hasn't been done. So they've got a system that actually is going through doing whatever he's talking about, because I've got no idea about it. All I know is trying to stop people hacking. So it is real. And you think, oh, we're up here where the cops are, no one's going to want us, but they don't know where anyone is, and they're just trying to get in, aren't they?
It's a bit scary.
Yeah.
Any questions, anyone?
Yeah, so questions, I want to make sure we stick to time, so I'll give you questions. We've got a couple of questions, but I'd much rather you ask them first.
Is Australia considered a soft market?
Yeah, it is, yeah. It's pretty much because Australia is a land of small business, so you have lots of people here, which makes us a bit of a prime location. I mean, through the internet, it literally doesn't matter where you are as long as you pay. And the reason, again, why small business also are targets, because, you know, if your data gets encrypted and you have the choice between I can't even ring my clients anymore because I don't even know what number they're having, and paying $10,000, usually people pay the $10,000. And then the chances of you actually getting your data back is about 50-50. But a lot of people pay for it, and as long as people paying for it, these guys will continue. Yep. That's why there is actually legislation in some countries at the moment discussed to make it illegal to pay ransom. So that basically stops it from people. But I know personally 5 businesses in Australia who went broke over being hacked. Broke, out of business, don't exist anymore, just over being hacked.
And how long did that take from going broke, from being hacked to going broke?
A week.
A week?
A week. It's like, they tried and struggled and whatever, and in the end, there was nothing they could do. So in the end, you know, at some point in time, if you don't do business anymore, people leave you. Or if you can't provide business anymore, people leave you. So yeah, it was pretty quick.
You see advertised on TV, it's really directed towards the average Dan. The companies like VPN,
yeah,
software,
yeah,
for Nord,
VPN, yeah.
Are they worth it?
No, it's the least of your concerns. The whole reason why you would have a VPN is because you don't want government to spy on you what websites you're looking at. If this is a concern of you, if you're into conspiracy theories, that's definitely something you want. Even if you're happy with VPN, guess who they're monitoring the most? And people use VPNs.
This one like is supposed to be Nord VPNs for like the home PC.
Yeah. The idea is this. There's a lot of hype, a lot of products being sold. When it comes to protecting yourself not to be the victim of a cybercrime, not knowing where you browse for other people is the least of your concern. It is very low on the list. It is of a concern maybe when you are a journalist or a news reporter and you have to disguise a little bit what you're doing, but as a normal person, this money you can happily save. By the way.
Yeah, you recommended, we spoke about like your routers and stuff.
Yeah.
Is there like certain companies or brands that you would recommend, like Ubiquiti or something like that? Or?
Ubiquiti is pretty good, but as a general rule, if your router using your business was not near the $1,000 mark, it's not good enough. That's a general rule. Because
so what are the extra benefits you get when you pay $1,000?
You get usually, it becomes a bit technical, but to try to keep it at least technical as possible is there's an IDS and an IPS, it's what they're called, and what it does is basically it monitors all traffic coming in and out, pretty much like a virus scanner looking for patterns, and if there are certain patterns being fulfilled, it terminates the connection. And then if you have a bit of a better firewall, you can also determine what countries can even reach you. Because one of the tricky bits, which people again don't realize, we got, what was it, I think 4.7 billion internet users. We have 10 billion devices plus connected to the internet. We have more devices, technical devices connected to the internet than there are people on the planet. So the blessing of the internet is you can reach everybody. The curse of the internet is everybody can reach you. And so whenever you connect Wi-Fi or put the blue cable in or whatever it is, you connect internet. The moment you connect it to the internet, you connected it to 4 billion plus users and 10 billion devices. That's what the problem is.
And is there software like on the different platforms like Microsoft and Apple? Is there software-based security?
You want
to put in place?
So when it comes to cybersecurity, the way how you stay safe is having multiple levels, not just one solution. You need about 10, 20 things. Your firewall, your router is one part of it. Yes, you also have some software on your computer. The latest trend actually is, and we have just actually embraced this ourselves as well, the latest trend actually is that you let a security company analyze your log files 24/7. That's the latest trend. Because when even have the antivirus software, sorry it comes with technical, but even if you have all these pieces of software, if no one looks at them, what they're doing, they're becoming useless very quickly. So you actually need to look someone all the time. And not even we can do this, because we want to sleep sometimes. So what you usually do is you partner with another company and whose whole job is to analyze log files, and when they see any suspicious activity, they basically block it and raise the alert. Yeah, there is a lot of hacks happening these days, which get completely missed, but you can, the moment they start doing suspicious activity in your network, you can pick it up then.
You spoke earlier about, they've got companies that are, just banks that servers.
Yes.
And a lot of people work. I mean, those people would know what they're doing, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
it's fully illegal, sure.
So they're getting paid to hack and get value off people.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's that big,
yeah.
But where's the law enforcement? They would know.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't they be crashing them or?
No. The tricky bit is because you're connected to every country in the world the moment you connect. So every country has their own rules. Don't know if you know, India has no copyright laws. You're legally allowed to copy anything anywhere. So every country looks at it a bit differently, and the hackers are using usually also the countries where it basically is easier to hide and harder to prosecute are the countries that are using it more. And on top of it, the VPN thing you talked about, that's the first thing a hacker uses to make sure you can't be tracked down. Yeah. Now there is still...
But you got companies virtually set up purely to steal.
Yeah, I know.
And then the policemen know about that?
Yeah.
And they can't do anything?
Yeah. It's too big a problem, and it's too easy, and it takes too much effort to track them all down. And then the moment they tracked one down, another 10 are already ready to go. And it's just a nuts problem. And there is, if you want to know exactly, there is, and then there are certain areas where actually, so why the American takes it very serious when you fiddle with their power grid. So hackers know where to stay away from as well, because if they do actually track them down, and within a week there's a SWAT team at their door and takes a few people out, and you never hear from them again. So they do exist, but the hackers also know what to stay away from.
Well, I would obviously you would have heard this week.
Yeah.
The Australian government is opening up a place where they can track hackers. I mean, how useful would that be if they can't do anything with the hackers?
Yeah.
Because they're overseas.
Yeah.
Under different law.
Yeah.
So is that worthwhile, what they're doing?
Well, you need to know what they're up to, and then you can harden your own infrastructure. So you're not really eliminating the hackers, but what you do is you make your borders, if you want to say so, safer.
Like them coming into Australia, like...
So the internet, yeah. But
cyber-wise coming into, making that.
Yeah. It's a catch-up game the whole time. But that's why these days you need multiple levels of protection. And it works, it's okay. Like you just have to stay ahead of the game. It's just, I guess, like everything in life. Once there's a new way how to exploit people, you need to know about it and protect yourself against it.
So, any other questions just before we finish? I mean, Mark's here and Barry. here to pounce on and ask you a question. But I only can encourage you as a business to look at doing something to protect it, because I was staggered at just the sheer, prior to seeing this presentation, the sheer amount of dollars that just everyday Australians are being touched up for, little owned businesses, just the individuals.
Mark, you do know the password
Manager.
you're talking about?
Yeah.
Is the, like, you know, the one on Apple that pops up and says who generated the password for you? Is that what you're talking about? You're talking
Now,
about
bare minimum. The Apple one is a bare minimum, so they're putting this now in. Apple's mission is to make your life a little bit easier, not necessarily to make it more secure. If you get a professional password manager, it does a lot of stuff in the background. For example, the most important part nearly is, so when you install a password manager, it starts capturing all the username and passwords you're using, and it will immediately alert you if any of your username and passwords are already known in the dark web and being exposed. So when there is, if you use a username and password all the time, it says this is already known on the dark web, you should change this immediately. So it goes way beyond just capturing passwords.
And will that program pick up everything you've currently got, or have you got to go and type in the...
You type them in once. So when you start installing the software, you once have to type it in, and then once you typed it in, it knows it. And then the beauty of a password manager is you can have it on all computers, including your phone, so it automatically synchronizes amongst all devices.
So what's the recommended one?
I would recommend 1Password. It's called 1Password.
That's the one.
Simply because they are one of nearly the only company, well, not the only, but like they have a very good track record in security. If you're using LastPass, swap away. They had so many security breaches.
I use it. Sue hates it.
LastPass had so many security breaches. You cannot with a good conscience recommend it. Yeah. Flame it.
What was the name of the game?
1Password is one of them. There's a few but 1Password is a good track record. Yeah.
I just want
Sorry, Luke.
Also, they go, gee,
LastPassword had like 10 security breaches in the last couple of years. They haven't got their act together. So whoever you... Yes, all of this, yes.
Yeah. So Luke.
Just we use Mark, and we've been through a couple of password things, and we've upgraded all these things you spoke about, which is really great. When we had multiple computers, multiple staff, and what I was challenged by was all the passwords and who would be able to log in and who wouldn't. Now we've got all of us, but 1Password set up. The problem is now I go to somebody else's computer, I can't even log into anything I want to use unless I have that password. And I don't even know it. So it's actually made it harder for us to work internally because it's actually so safe. Does that make sense? Before, I could jump on anyone's computer, I could log into any of our online user accounts, I could get into their emails, I could do anything as a business owner. But now it's far more secure. We've got one computer that says we'll log in, and I'm like, no, I need to log in. Mine's not even on there. So we do a sticky note, and I'm going to go and fix it.
As long as the sticky note's not on there.
We have a job logging over, but I don't think this job's
Now, what's with the Krispy Kreme? We all getting Krispy Kreme donuts?
Yeah.
You want to explain?
Yeah, have
I
you?
don't really want to scan that.
Has anyone scanned it? Ah, okay, good. Good job. It's when you scan it, it says you've just been cybersecurity checked and you failed. QR codes is nothing else than a website link. It can redirect you to a malicious link as well. So just be careful what you scan. Now you seem to be all not that technical. So if you put this in a room with young people, they all start scanning it, and literally everybody who scanned it could be hacked that second.
These ones are safe, guys.
Yeah, the life walk's okay.
Yeah, that's what that is. So if you haven't done it, you don't need to worry about it. But just be aware that even scanning a QR code, just scan stuff which is a trusted source. If you find it somewhere where it's not a trusted source, don't scan. Could be anything.
Because you got to trust in Krispy
Yeah, I know.
Phil.
Does this stuff lead on to like identity theft?
Yeah. Well, when it can lead to identity theft, if your identity really has been stolen and being used, you have a world of pain coming your way.
Yeah.
This is way worse than just losing some data or. But it is all. This is sort of can lead to this. But when someone does a proper identity theft on you and actually start using your persona, yeah, that's bad.